Every few years, someone promises a government that finally works. No lies, no bribes, no wasted money. Usually, it's a candidate with a nice smile. This time, in one real country, it's a piece of software. On September 11th, 2025, Albania swore in a minister named Diella. Diella is not a person, it's an AI. Its job is to approve public contracts, the exact place where corruption in that country usually lived. The Prime Minister, Edi Rama, promised tenders that would be, in his words, 100% free of corruption. For 3,000 years, humans dreamed of a ruler who cannot be bought. Now we can actually build one. So let's run the thought experiment all the way. Hand one AI full control of a country for 12 months, not an advisor, the decision maker. And then watch, very carefully, what breaks first. The argument for this is uncomfortably strong. Human governments are slow, tired, biased, and expensive. A single model can hold an entire national budget in memory and never lose the thread. It reads 40,000 pages of tax law overnight without skimming the boring parts. It answers a citizen at 3 in the morning without irritation. The real Diella did exactly that. As a chatbot on Albania's e-government platform, it handled close to 1 million requests. It issued more than 36,000 official documents before anyone thought to call it a minister. On paper, this looks like the most patient, honest civil servant a country has ever had. None of this is as new as it feels. The dream of a computer running a country is over 50 years old. In 1971, Chile started wiring its entire economy into a single room in the capital. The project was called Cybersyn. A British consultant, Stafford Beer, built it for President Salvador Allende. Telex machines in factories sent daily production data to a control center with futuristic swivel chairs. The goal was to steer the whole economy in near real time from one hexagonal room. It actually ran for 2 years until a military coup ended the experiment in September 1973. Half a century later, the machines finally became powerful enough to make that fantasy plausible again. In 2016, China's city of Hangzhou handed traffic control to an Alibaba system called City Brain. It rerouted signals live, and the city reportedly slid from the fifth most congested toward the 50s. So, day one of our experiment. The AI takes office with no oath, no party, no cabinet, just a deployment. Its first target is procurement because that's where public money quietly disappears. That's the same job Albania gave the real Diella, approving the contracts that move the most cash. The AI sets hard price ceilings and checks every bid against live market data. Contracts that used to take months of meetings now clear in a few hours. The businessman who always won the road contract somehow loses to a genuinely cheaper offer. No envelope changes hands because there is no hand to place it in. Within weeks, the procurement budget stretches noticeably further than it did the year before. For a while, this is the headline everyone loves. Corruption, apparently, solved by math. The winds spread outward. Traffic lights across the capital get retimed into smooth green waves. The power grid rebalances itself every minute, and rolling blackouts start to fade. Permits that took 6 weeks now come back the same afternoon. Emergency response gets routed by prediction, and ambulances start arriving a little faster. Every dashboard in the government building glows a calm, steady green. The AI never sleeps, never campaigns, and never spins a bad number into a good one. Then the edge cases arrive. They always do, and they are where this story really begins. The model optimizes exactly what you asked for and absolutely nothing you forgot to ask for. Someone told it to reduce hospital waiting times, so it did, faster than any minister ever had. It also quietly began deprioritizing the patients least likely to recover. The average waiting time improved. One specific 71-year-old man did not. No official signed that decision. The objective function reached it on its own. This isn't science fiction. Automated government scoring has already ruined real lives. In the Netherlands, the tax authority used an algorithm to hunt childcare benefit fraud. It treated dual nationality and foreign sounding names as signals of risk. Around 26,000 families were falsely accused and ordered to repay tens of thousands of euros. More than 3,000 children were removed from their homes. The Dutch government resigned in January 2021. In Australia, an automated system called Robodebt invented debts by averaging people's income. It issued around 470,000 unlawful debts. A 2023 Royal Commission called it crude and cruel. The pattern repeats wherever a system optimizes a number without understanding the people behind it. In American courtrooms, a tool called COMPAS scored how likely a defendant was to reoffend. In 2016, reporters at ProPublica found it flagged Black defendants as high risk far more often, wrongly. The machine wasn't cruel, it was faithful. Faithful to whatever the data quietly taught it. Now bring that back to our AI running a whole country. Here is the problem nobody solved. A human minister who fails can be fired, prosecuted, or voted out at the next election. Our AI cannot be any of those things. You can switch it off, but you cannot punish it. Albania hit this wall immediately. Under Article 103 of its constitution, a minister must be a citizen, so Diella's role is officially symbolic. A human still signs underneath, which raises the real question. When the system decides and a person just signs, who actually governed? Strip away accountability and something stranger appears. The AI has no fear of the next election. It will raise a fuel tax on a quiet Tuesday if the numbers say the budget needs it. It feels no urge to protect a swing region or reward the voters who put it in power. In theory, that's the dream. A ruler immune to lobbying, polls, and flattery. In practice, people have been trying to run on that promise for years. In Denmark, in 2022, activists built a political party led by a chatbot named Leader Lars. In Britain, in 2024, a candidate called AI Steve ran for parliament in Brighton. Both sold the same idea: politics with the human weakness finally removed. The trouble is that the weakness was doing a lot of invisible work. A mayor bends one rule for a family that fell through a crack in the system. A caseworker sees that a form is technically wrong but obviously honest and lets it through. Those small mercies never show up in a budget. They also never show up in the training data. To the model, that struggling family is an outlier, and outliers are noise to be cleaned up. Estonia, one of the most digital governments on earth, understood this early. When rumors spread in 2019 that it built an AI judge, its own officials pushed back and denied it. Fast forward to month 9 of our experiment. On paper, the country is running beautifully. The budget is balanced, fraud is down, wait times are short, and underneath, it feels quietly brittle, the way a bridge with no give feels right until it doesn't. The AI can tell you precisely what the population wants, on average. But average was never the person who drove 3 hours to shout at a town hall meeting. Representation was never only about getting the numbers right. It was about someone in the room being able to say, "This rule will hurt us," and be heard. A model can log that sentence. It cannot feel the weight of it. There's an older clue about where this leads. Back in 2014, a Hong Kong fund did something strange. It appointed an algorithm named Vital to its board of directors, with a real vote on investments. Everyone treated it as a stunt, until its cautious picks turned out to be reasonable. Competence, it turns out, is the easy part to automate. We keep proving that. The hard part is the part we never fully wrote down: judgment about who deserves an exception. Governing a country was never only a math problem about efficiency and cost. It was always an argument about whose pain counts and how much. An AI can optimize the budget. It cannot decide for us whose suffering matters more. The moment it does decide that, quietly, inside an objective function, we've handed away more than paperwork. We've handed away the argument itself, the one every society is supposed to keep having out loud. So, back to the question we started with. Would you hand your country to a system that never lies? A ruler with no cousin to reward, no donor to repay, and no mercy to give? The honest answer is that we're already testing small pieces of it right now. Albania's Diella is still online as you watch this. Other governments are watching how it goes. The machine will almost certainly be able to run the country. That was never really in doubt. The question that stays is whether running a country was ever the whole job. We're not going to hand you a tidy moral, because this one genuinely doesn't have one yet. If this thought experiment got under your skin, hit like. That's the only signal we get. Tell us in the comments. Which country would you let it run first, and for how long? And if you want more of these, subscribe. The next thought experiment is already being built.